Are your bags packed for High Point? Mine are. And I hope that you are going to be hitting up some of the many panel discussions that I will be moderating over the weekend. Conversations covering everything from AI, growth and scaling your firm, to sourcing, finances, and branding. And I have some of our favorite industry people on these panels. This is just a little tiny part of the list. Corey Damon Jenkins, Megan Moulton, Amber Guyton, Jude Charles, Sarah Daniele, Beth Bender, Deval Rendels, Jessica Love. OMG. You know how lucky I feel to be surrounded by all of these #smart people? Because you know me, I love nothing more than having a deep, insightful, curious, driven conversation with smart people. And I want to give a huge thank you to all of the incredible host showrooms, including Fazy, Abison Home, Hooker Furniture, Cheryl Furniture, and Eichholtz. So if you want the full lineup and details on how to join us for all of these panels, head over to LuAnnNiagara.com/event. Each panel will be listed there with every one of the panelists, and please stop by. And if you do, please come up and say hello and introduce yourself to me. It's like makes my day. Totally, totally love meeting you out in the wild, in real life. Thanks so much. Welcome to A Well-Designed Business. My name is LuAnn Niagara, and I'm so glad you found this podcast. Together with my husband Vince and our partner Bill, we have grown our company Window Works from the ground up. So I know and I understand the challenges you face in running your interior design business. I also know that your talent alone isn't enough to ensure your success. So on this podcast, we talk about strategies and practical steps to help you grow your business. But make no mistake about it, we have our share of fun here too, mixed in with those aha moments that I love so much. This isn't fluff. Nobody has time for that. Whether you are a new interior designer or a seasoned designer, I am here to help you create and to manage the kind of interior design firm that you dream of. It's straight talk and it's action. Are you ready? Let's get started. Hi, welcome to A Well-Designed Business. Before we get into today's episode, I want to let you know that we're doing something a little different over the next several months. We're bringing back the most downloaded, the most talked about episodes from the last 9 years of A Well-Designed Business. These are the episodes that built businesses, that sparked aha moments, that turned you into an action taker. Now, if you're wondering why we're revisiting these episodes and what's changing with the show overall, well, I walk you through the full vision in our April 25th, 2025 episode titled The Big Shift, What's Changing on a Well-Designed Business and Why. That episode is linked for you in the show notes. Now, a quick heads up. These episodes are airing as they originally did. That means the music might sound familiar or it might be vintage. That means the event dates will definitely be out of date that I talk about. And it also means that any offers that are mentioned may or may not be valid still. But the insights, still golden. So whether it's your first time hearing this episode or your 5th time hearing it, there's something in this conversation for you right now in this season of your business. So here's the show. I hope you enjoy it. Happy New Year, 2023. I am so happy to share the one and only Jean Stoffer as the very first show of the year. Jean is an award-winning independent interior designer specializing in kitchen and bath designs. I've had the pleasure of talking with Jean several times over the years now, and each time I admire her more. And just when I thought I couldn't find another thing to love about Jean, I read her book, Establishing Home. This is a run, not walk, to go get your copy. Reading this book feels like this. Imagine you were brought into the coziest room ever. You are introduced to a person who begins to tell you her story. And literally, in moments, you are drawn into her warmth, her words, her memories. With each story, each lesson, each observation, you feel like you're listening to your dearest friend ever. I'm not kidding. Jean is a true gem. And what you learn is that she has always been guided by a desire to help her husband provide for their family
And in doing this, decisions were made, but the decisions that were made always put family first. And I think that what you learn is doing that is never wrong. And in honoring that, in through that, Stoffer Home ultimately has come full circle and now is a true family business with every single one of their kids and her husband involved. The years she invested in building a smart, profitable business have paid off. Today, her television series, The Established Home, is on Magnolia Network. Her book is available at Target, Barnes & Noble, and Amazon. She has a beautiful brick and mortar shop in Grand Rapids, Michigan. And on top of all of this, wait until you hear Jean tell us about her own inspired cabinet line, Stoffer Home Cabinetry. If you are one of the many hundreds of thousands who have long time admired Jean and her kitchen and bath design, and would love to incorporate this cabinetry design into your projects, well, listen up. Jean is going to tell you how you can do this. Listen in as Jean walks us through her journey of starting an interior design business with small children, now working with those adult children, and growing her brand to what it is today, taking it, as she describes, one season at a time.
Hi, Jean. Thanks so much for joining me on A Well-Designed Business today.
Thanks so much for having me, LuAnn.
Jean, I feel like this is such a long overdue conversation. I'm
Mhm.
just embarrassed that it's taken us this long to do this.
Well, I
You know,
remember one of my first little interactions with you one-on-one was I was on a treadmill at the workout place that I went to before COVID, and and we were talking about it then. So there you go.
I know, it's the truth. And that was because we were having a conversation about one of your design projects that we were doing for you here at Window
hmm
Works in New Jersey, right?
Right. We had both a New York and a New Jersey client
Yes.
that you were helping us out with.
Yeah, that was crazy. And that's funny because you were on a treadmill and I was walking through the airport on my way to some speaking engagement.
Wait, is there a picture there?
I know, right? It's like two busy ladies just getting the things done, right?
Oh, yeah.
Oh my goodness. But anyway, so finally here we are. That was a long, long time ago, but here we are. And of course, so much has happened since then. You know, you've got the
Mhm.
television show, you've got the book out, which I adore and love. It's a beautiful book and it's so nicely put together and written. We're going to talk about these things. Your cabinet line also has come out since then. But I just like just a step back, just a
Mhm.
tiny step back, and just give us a little bit about your hindsight, maybe, or
Mm.
your reflections on building such a monumental, literally
Hmm.
amazing, tremendous interior design firm, reputation, company, all the things. There's not enough superlatives actually or adjectives because it's not often that we as human people have the chance to be in a conversation with someone who is as accomplished as you are. And I don't say that like, oh, it's just a simple fact. It is an absolute empire that you have built. And it seems outside looking in that you've done it within your value system, which is
Yeah.
even more amazing.
Yeah.
So, talk to us a little bit about it, Jean.
Yeah. Well, I think that's really key, LuAnn. And you mentioned another word when you were talking about it, reputation.
Mm,
And our value system and reputation are just so bedrock for me and our family. And it's just interesting, because here I am in my 60s. I know you just turned 60.
hmm
Just a little bit older than you, but I did not ever, intend, I didn't set out to build what I am now experiencing in business. I I gravitated towards kitchen design kind of not intentionally.
mm,
Um, Way back when and I write all about this in my book, way back when I started having, more kids and needed to find a job to do at home if I wanted to continue to work. Because, back then in the late 80s, early 90s, interior design was not able to be pursued in the home, work from home, because
Mm.
without the internet,
Mm-hmm.
there's no way to source anything unless you went to design centers.
Right. It was the traipsing in and out to the major cities to see all the
Oh,
things,
yeah. And I
right?
lived in Chicago at the time, so the Merchandise Mart was part of my, that was where I went and found things. That was
Mm-hmm.
you couldn't source it any other way unless you had manuals and, stacks and stacks of fabric books
Remember
and
all the binders and
yes,
right.
yes, I do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, um, I just gravitated towards kitchen design because I loved it and I felt just like my personal um, abilities lent themselves to that type of design more than interior design with fabrics and furnishings. But also, it was an opportunity to work and stay at home with my kids. And I loved it. And I really felt like all the years I was raising my kids, we have 4 kids, and the age range is 9 years. So, from the time the first one's born to the last one leaves, that's significant time.
That's like 15 years, right? By the time that last one gets to be 5 years old, that's 14, 15 years of
Yeah, it's a
being
lot
at
of
home.
time.
It is.
Yeah. And
Mm.
even then, um, with any mom knows this, just because your kids are in school full time all day does not mean you can go to work full time and not have any gaps.
Right.
There's
Right.
constantly days off, summers off, sick kids, you name it. So I continued on wanting to keep this kind of profile. Honestly, into the time where they could handle themselves independently.
Mm.
And I'm so thankful for
Mm.
it. I don't regret 1 minute of it.
Right.
I
Right.
have really solid relationships with my kids and my husband, and I am just so thankful that that's the way I was able to handle that. I know not
Mm.
everyone can. I know that.
Mhm.
But that we were able to structure our life in a way that made that possible is just huge. But it, but so I would say I was in the trenches for many, many years, learning, learning cabinetry design, learning kitchen design, learning general contracting, working with general contractors, learning appliance integration, learning how to troubleshoot problems on the job and with kitchens. Let me tell you, there's a lot.
Mm. Yes.
um, Learning about mechanicals, learning about, all kinds of things. And I feel like I got to learn it at a pace that every layer really built on it. And I really, it like planted deeply.
Mm.
And it's interesting because for many of those years, we were published in design magazines and I was winning kitchen design contests, but it never really like took off. It was a
Mm.
solid referral business,
Mm.
solid, you know. And by the time the kids were, able to take care of themselves, I was able to really, pretty much work full time and had some great, like, just many, many great projects every year. But it wasn't until we moved to be near where most of our kids landed, which is in Michigan, 3-hour drive from where we raised them in Chicago.
Mm.
And then we decided Dale and I were at a point in our lives where we were trying to decide what to do with the big family home and downsizing and blah, blah, blah. And we just decided to take a chance on moving to Michigan. And, Dale and I are both born and raised in that area in Chicago, raised our kids there. So this
That's
is like
big.
a monumental
It's
move.
big. It's at that time of life especially, it's big.
Yeah.
But the kids are a big draw too,
Oh,
right?
huge.
Yeah,
And they
that's
had
what I'm
started having their own families,
yes.
so
Mhm.
huge. And then shortly thereafter, Grace, after getting her teaching degree and teaching for a couple of years, asked if I had any interest in her joining me.
And you jumped off of your chair, happy, happy, and said, "Well, maybe."
It was about the most amazing.
Oh my God, I got goosebumps thinking about it.
It was so wonderful.
Mm.
And, she had not aspired ever to work with me.
Hmm.
And I had not ever imagined it was a possibility,
Mm.
ever. So what it was, she bought her own home with Ted and they started fixing it up and she got into design and also just realized that even though she loved the students, loved the parents that she taught, the actual job of teaching was not exactly what she'd imagined.
Mm.
And it was hard on her also as a young mom.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
she wanted an opportunity to be able to work from home. And I was like, I get that.
Yes.
And, in the beginning, she could bring the babies in to work with me if we needed to be together. It was beautiful.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That I
Yeah.
mean, I love all that. And the thing is, it's funny because two things in there that strike me. The one is that you started by saying this wasn't a plan in
Mm-mm.
that it wasn't a
No.
plan to be what I called an empire. I don't know what you call it, but I call it an empire. Right? But
Yeah. I mean, that's an embarrassing word for me. I feel uncomfortable with the word. I would say a thriving business. I don't know.
okay,
But
okay, okay. So, but that's why I said that I called it that because I
yeah, yeah.
get it's weird to say it of yourself, but it's a tad more than a thriving business. I just say,
Yeah. Yeah.
and you
It's
shouldn't feel funny. You shouldn't, and I'm kind of having fun with it, but I'm also deeply respectful of it. And the thing is, what I wanted to say was, I understand not you didn't sit there at 25 with your four kids and think one day I'm going to have a TV show, of this, of that, of that.
no.
Now I get that, right? And the thing about that is I wonder if you have a similar experience that I have when I go to the different markets and the younger designers come up and talk to me. I imagine the same thing is happening with you. And
Hmm.
there is this sense of I have to do it now. I have to. Like I'm trying to get both my
I've
kids in school,
noticed that. I've noticed
right?
that. Yeah. Well, I really do believe that the cultural messages out there are
Yes.
telling people that and listen, you're young now, you're having these opportunities now, you might never have them again. You have the energy now, you have you're the quick mind now. You have to do this now because you'll be irrelevant if
Mhm.
you back out of this for a little bit. And I believe that's a lie.
I do too. I do
I
too.
really do.
And I think
And
that when you have your not only your work experience, but your life experience
mm,
mixed with it at one point, you're in a much better position to create what your brain envisions at
mhm,
that moment,
mhm,
and the skill sets are all like it almost it's like the Seinfeld line, the worlds are colliding, right? Like the
mhm.
worlds are all
Yeah.
colliding, you know?
Yeah, and I really feel like then there's this really hard pull two opposite ways in
Yes.
moms'
Mhm.
hearts
Mhm.
that they know their children are valuable
Yep.
and that they want to be the one that raises their children,
Mhm.
but they feel this pull because people are asking them to do things.
Mhm.
People are giving them opportunities
And they're
and they
seeing
feel
people on
this,
Instagram do it, and they should be doing
yes,
it.
yes, and I should be doing this now and and it's really um like I really talk about this in my book a lot. I really believe there are seasons for things.
Me too.
And it's great to embrace those and accept them. And now let me tell you, there were moments where I had this pretty palpable sense of urgency and even resentment about my current situation that I couldn't just
Mhm.
do what I wanted to do.
Mhm.
But hell, heck, that's a mom that does that.
That's right.
It's a mom's life, regardless of what you're doing. That's just real, and we have to get our heads around that and remember what our joy is and what our opportunity is with our kids. But I did have the opportunity of doing work um, consistently throughout, you know, little bit to continue to hone my skills, and so that was a benefit. But it required pumping the brakes all the time
Yes. Yeah.
and saying no, learning how to say no,
Mhm.
which is great for anything anyway,
Mhm.
to learn how
Mhm.
to say no to
Mhm.
stuff.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, my experience is similar. I remember having similar experiences, that's it's great that you brought that up because it's not that either one of us are saying it was easy to put the brakes on, and it was easy to
no.
say, "Oh, I've got these eyeballs looking at me. I can't take that opportunity or I can't go in that direction." But I also think that we both are in a situation with the 100% value of the hindsight. I mean,
Mm,
I know you can say the truth of it, and for me, I can say the truth of it as well. Because of that, I have a phenomenal relationship with my three stepchildren and our daughter together. It's
mm-hmm.
and it's because of those years. And the thing about it is that it's not everybody's path to put the brakes on. It's some people manage it. There's just no commentary on
Right.
shoulds. This is not shoulds,
No, no.
but it's just that to me, I agree with you. I think as a society, we are putting pressure on moms to think that you can have it all and you actually can, but not all in the same season, is my belief.
Yes,
Right?
perfectly said.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. And so
Yeah.
when Grace came to me with this idea, it was now recognizing her situation in life
Mm.
with little ones and wanting an opportunity to continue to work, and then and honestly having her join me has opened up so many possibilities, and the fact that our relationship is very strong and always has made it absolutely beautiful,
Mm.
and I just love it, and it's opened the door for so much, and yet I it's opened the door a lot for her, but she can stand back and say, I can only work 2 days a week, mom, you know,
Mhm.
and and I respect that. So
Mhm.
I'm carrying the load while she's still in this season of life, and it's the right thing.
Right. And then she'll pick it up. And then look at
Yeah,
you. You'll be another 10 years down the road. You
yeah,
probably will want to work, but at that point, maybe you want to work 2 days a week and she pulls the 5 days, right?
exactly,
Yes.
exactly.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Now, but you also at this point have well, yeah, I read that John and your
yep.
son John and his wife are your photographers. I read that Dale, your husband, and David and Dan all work in the business at this point too. So tell us a little bit about all that.
It's really true.
That's great.
John and his wife Maura have been our photographers since day one. It's actually since John was in high school and
That's
expressed
crazy.
interest in it.
That's crazy.
And I talk about the whole how that all evolved in the book, but
Yeah.
he now not only does all of our photography, and what was so cool about it, LuAnn, is that while I was developing and really honing my style, he was honing how he depicted my style.
Mm.
So I have this incredibly consistent, very specific way of having our work photographed. And we don't use anyone else.
Wow.
And it's a lot of our look that you see is because we very specifically photographed it with a look.
So he basically was cultivating, curating your brand look through the photography.
Very much so.
Wow.
Yes.
That's amazing. That's incredible.
Yeah, and so much so that he's really followed the whole, journey of the business. And later last year or this year, he came on board as our director of marketing.
Mm.
So, because he's got this incredible visual sense about him, and he has this uncanny sense of what the market is looking for. And so like he is the one that is my coach for Instagram. So
Wow.
I I do it all. I do it all myself, but I do it under his coaching.
That's nice.
Yeah. It's
It's
really
so nice
great.
that you have any person that you have that much trust in with
Yes.
being the brand developer, right? The brand ambassador, the brand curator.
Yeah.
You do need to have that infinite trust because just like you said, I do it, but he, under his guidance and coaching, because I'm sure there's times when you're just like saying, wait, what am I going to do here? And he's like,
Yeah.
do it. And you're like, okay, right?
Yeah, and it's like very broad sweeps, general directions of what I
Hmm.
should what we he kind of helps me figure out, and then he trains me in how to take my own pictures with my iPhone. Trains me how to edit them.
Why should your son be any different than the rest of our kids telling
Yeah,
us how to use our iPhones?
right. Right. So yeah, that's John, and then our youngest son Dan came on board during COVID when he and his wife left New York because he lost his job and her entire master's program went virtual.
Oh.
So they came back to Michigan, and Dan's kind of like, okay. And at that time, our cabinetry business was starting to like get some teeth in it, and we needed someone to handle the sales and kind of estimating and client like intake and um, answering all the questions. There's a lot of questions if someone's going to buy custom kitchen cabinetry, and we
Mhm.
needed someone who knew what they were talking about and was great with people. And so he came on board in 2020 and has really developed that he has done a fabulous job, and it's exciting because we've done scores of gorgeous residential projects with using our cabinetry all across the country. We've collaborated with several interior designers who are looking for a great cabinetry source, and we got this huge opportunity to do Chris Loves Julia's
Oh, Julia,
kitchen,
welcome. She's so
um,
sweet.
and so it's really been great. And now we're kind of starting a new additional focus of um, luxury multifamily um, condos with
Mm.
our cabinetry, our kitchen design and cabinetry line. So it's very interesting, and having him on board has kind of opened up our eyes to these possibilities.
Wow.
I guess this is the thing, Jet. Oh, I should. Yeah, just generally, I feel like having my 30 something age kids involved, they have ideas, and they don't, on their own, they would not have the business experience or the cash reserves to be able to implement them.
Mm.
But becoming part of the family business that's been around for now 38 years, there's there's a lot more groundwork laid that
Right.
these things can be built on, and it's very exciting.
That
And then
is exciting.
finally, our oldest son Dave um, is not an official employee of the company. He's more of a contract um, because he's very much of a go-getter and a inspiring person, and is very project based.
Hmm.
So when kind of big things need to get launched, but it doesn't, then we need to put like employees in place to manage it. He's very key in those areas.
I
So it's
love
always
that they
changing
have
what
all
he
these
does.
skill sets, and that's an awesome skill set. So you're basically saying he's the guy, you have a big idea, everybody agrees on the idea, and it's like, okay, let's say Dave goes and figures out the parameters and gets it launched and gets it out of the gate.
Yeah, in certain things, yes.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah.
And then what about your husband? Because I think he's in the business as
he
well, right?
he is. Well, he left his corporate job, retired from his corporate job in 2017, to retire. And that has not
He's so
really worked
silly.
out.
He's so
He's so
silly.
silly. It's not worked out real well for him. But there are so many things that, like, just soon after he retired, the next year we opened the brick and mortar. And none of us had had any retail experience. We had no idea what was coming at us. And one thing that we realized is, oh my gosh, you bring in all this product. What do you do with all of the garbage? It's mounding up everywhere. Like, what, our little garbage can is not handling this. So he actually became in charge of what we call waste flow, which is a serious issue.
Right?
And
Right?
finding the various recycling plants that would handle the
Wow.
various types of waste that, oh my gosh. And so now we're too big for him to handle that. We have all kinds of other things, but just, he'll hang light fixtures at the store. Now that we opened, e-commerce kind of soon after the store. And then that really got its teeth in during COVID. But there's just so many things that we have discovered. Oh, you have to do that? Like, we had no idea about so many things. And he's usually the stopgap.
Yes.
He's usually the guy that fills in until we figure out what in the world to do.
That's awesome. I love that.
Yeah.
It's so funny because, here at WindowWorks, Vinny was operations. He was managing partner for many, many years. And of course, now we've transitioned over to the next management and ownership team. But he's still here 3 days a week, 4 days a week or whatever. And every once in a while, he'll say certain things like, didn't anybody notice that the dumpster has holes in it, that we need a new dumpster? And he'll, like, sit there at dinner with me and be like, I don't understand. How come I'm the only one
Yes.
that sees this? How come I'm the only one else? I'm like,
Because
how
it's
about
no
let's
one's
just
particular job.
That's
This
right.
is yes.
That's what I said to him. I said, how about we just say, thank goodness you noticed. Make a phone call, get a new one. Like, what's the
Yeah.
big drama?
Yeah,
Just
right.
take
Oh,
care
it's
of it.
so, I'll tell you, he is a godsend.
Yes.
And not only that, but like all the years of raising the kids and being home, he traveled quite a bit with his job. So I was home alone, a lot. And so that meant all the cooking, all the, laundry,
Picking up and dropping off and
yeah.
wiping the noses.
But since he retired, like, he's gotten into cooking.
Oh.
And so now he
Well, I'm sending Vinny out to spend a month with him, okay?
Oh my gosh, it's the best thing, LuAnn.
That's
He's
awesome.
like, so that's off my plate now.
Oh my goodness, that's awesome. And
Yeah.
I'll bet you he's probably also helping out with the grandchildren here and there, doing those types of things, right?
He's super grandpa. Honestly,
Yes.
he's the best. I'm
Yes.
a little jealous of the time he gets to have with them, but they love him. And he's really developed great relationships with them.
That's awesome. That's great. No, you do need that one. It's like the jack of all trades guy, the guy that can be high level and negotiate contracts for waste removal, but then also boots on the ground. Let's look at this and that's what I'm consistently, I'm making fun at Vinny and he gets it, but I'm just like, this is a valuable thing. Somebody needs to do these things. Like, don't begrudge it. Like,
Yeah.
But then I also say to them, if there's a system that should be in place, that's something that you just did intuitively for the last 40 years, then you got to also help us out by making that a process, because if it's only in your brain, Nagara, it's not going to help us when you're at the beach.
Oh my gosh, LuAnn, you just said a word that has become like a byline for us. Because running a business by yourself for many, many years, I didn't need a process for anything. I was the only person that knew anything and everything. I didn't need to. Well, guess what? When other people are doing a lot of things, which is now happening all over the place, you've got to have a process.
That's right.
And
it has to be documented. Otherwise, it doesn't get done the Jean Stoffer way. It gets done the whoever's doing it way.
And then no one knows what happened how it happened or how to do it again. So that's been a big learning curve.
I know. We are about once every 2 or 3 weeks. he'll do something, and because I just finally encouraged him. Actually, it started with my cousin Eileen Hahn encouraging us through the coaching that she's done with us with succession planning. But I'm the constant nag on him. I'm like, did you add that to the list of the things that you do? Did you add that to the list of the things that you do? Right.
Yeah.
So it's interesting though, the evolution of the business and getting it out of your head and making sure that, because we call it the window works way, and I know there is a Jean Stoffer way, and I mean obviously your brand is nationally, internationally recognized, and it's very important that the quality and
Yeah.
all of the things connected with it remain as closest to your original vision and way of doing it. Otherwise it falls apart, right? It
It's
becomes right.
so true.
Mm-hmm.
But the other thing is we have to be open to hearing ideas
Mm-hmm.
that are going to be way better than I'd ever come up with. And I want to tell you, LuAnn, when Grace and I started to get busy and started to realize, oh my gosh, this is more than just our little business. We worked at a table in my bedroom the first year we worked together, which was 2016. It's not
That's
that long
crazy.
ago.
That's crazy.
And I remember having kind of the way I was handling business as far as collections go wasn't working anymore. And I was getting in trouble. Like we were not getting um, the payments from clients in the way that we needed
Mm.
to maintain business. And then we found out about your podcast, and this is back, and started listening, and we got the help we needed. And I
Oh,
instituted exactly what your guest said to do, and it works beautifully.
I'm so
And
that's so
and
awesome. Thank you.
bottom
I'm so
line,
glad.
that I would say the biggest point of that was in our contract, in the way we do business, we require for anything that's custom made a 75% deposit,
Hmm.
and then when it's ready to ship from the workroom, the cabinet shop, the whatever, um, that's when we collect the remaining 25%, and
I
then
love
it
it.
ships.
I love it.
Because what I had been doing all along is getting 50% deposit and then 50% upon delivery. Well, guess what? They never had their check
No,
at
I know what
delivery.
happened. Yeah, they didn't have their check, and you installed $100,000 worth of cabinetry, and one cabinet had a little nick on it, and so they said, "Oh, you're not getting your $50,000 balance due until I
Right.
get that."
Right.
Yeah,
And that's the
right.
way people are trained to think. So I don't blame
Mm-hmm.
them. I don't
Right.
blame them.
Right.
And what I realized is I need to blame myself. I didn't have the process in place that was going to make sure business could keep going.
Mm-hmm.
And when I listened to your guest say, listen, if they can't afford 75% deposit for custom at the time that they need to order it, then they can't afford it.
Right. What are they doing? Saving their acorns for when the product comes in? Stop. Right. Like you either
Well,
have it or you don't.
so
Right.
that was revolutionary. It's in their initial contract so they know exactly how we're going to operate. And then with every proposal, and then we had to, as a team too, just like, oh no, you can't ship that. Have you
Right.
billed them, and have you gotten the last 25%?
Mm-hmm.
Do not release that.
Mm-hmm.
Don't schedule delivery. And
Yeah,
yeah,
there's a learning curve there, right? Too,
yeah,
because,
yeah.
and then I can imagine the other things that happen because I've been through them, right? So here's the other things. Oh, well, they've been a client for so long. And it's like, ixnay on that, right? Like,
Ixnay, ixnay.
it's
Nope.
got to be across the board. But then there's a learning curve in instituting it. Sometimes it's just drop the hatchet, and that's the way it goes. But there are times when your staff falls back on it or they forget. But because I know I'm still in the Monday morning meetings for Window Works every
Hmm.
week, and anytime we discuss a project that was quote unquote completed, supposed to have been completed, and there's a deficiency on it, they're all going around the room talking about it, and I'm saying, do we have the money? And if the answer is no, they know what my face is going to do. I'm
Hmm.
like,
Hmm.
how are we here? How are we here? Like,
Yeah, yeah.
you know, because your leverage is better. People are much more reasonable when you have all the money. I mean, it's just a fact of life. Let's be serious, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So
So that was just really a game changer
that's
for
nice.
us. And
That's
so
nice. I'm glad to know that.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So tell me, you've been talking about this cabinetry line and I'm intrigued by it. So
Hmm.
what is the deal? It's available to like designers listening. If they've got
Yeah.
clients that love the, Jean Stoffer, the Stoffer home look,
Hmm.
they can tell us about that. I want to
Yeah, well, the
understand that.
genesis of it was that, more and more of our kitchens were getting out there to the general public because Instagram really took off. And I had a ton of content to put on Instagram that was mostly kitchens. And people would be calling us from all over. And the way we would do our custom kitchens was not compatible with being able to move very far out of our little area. Because
Mm.
we would go to the house, we would interview people, we would put our measuring tape down, we would go and check on the job at various times, and we would meet with contractors, and we would meet with the client in their home showing samples and so forth. It just wasn't compatible with, say, doing a job in, California, Arizona, New Mexico, just like. And then Grace said, well, we should just sell it online. And I
Why not?
and it was in a meeting. We were around a table with several other people. And she actually said, well, we're going to start selling them online. And I kind of looked at her like, and how are we going to do that?
Okay, we got a plan for that, sweetie.
And it turned out to be a great idea.
Wow.
But it took us about a year to figure out the process on how to really make it work. And we got a real huge shot in the arm because Joe Saltz, the editorial director of House Beautiful magazine, wanted to have her kitchen remodeled, but make a YouTube series about the whole process of kitchen remodeling,
Mm.
kitchen design and remodeling. And she wanted to use Stoffer Home cabinetry. And so we were able to talk about this new process. And it was a great shot in the arm. And at that time, then Dan came on board, but we figured out a process. And it's all virtual, but we rely on really good boots on the ground to give us measurements, site conditions. But we work hand in hand with homeowners directly, or we have some really great interior designers we've also been working with that have found us, and we've become their cabinetry source. And so we are designing and shipping cabinets all over the country.
Wow.
And it's a thrill. And we get these, pictures back, and it is a Jean Stoffer kitchen.
Wow.
And so, in essence, we've become a national brand.
Sure.
And we don't need showrooms all over the place.
That's
People,
crazy,
it's
right?
crazy. It's
Instagram is your showroom, basically.
Instagram is our showroom, and it's incredible because that is not how kitchen cabinetry, high end kitchen cabinetry, has been sold ever.
Right.
And it was Grace's idea.
Wow.
And
Broke the mold. That's why you need the young people around, right?
yeah, yeah. I mean, it took a lot of work to figure out how to make it work, but we have satisfied customers and designers who now have a reliable source and really partner. And it's been really gratifying.
So tell me about it, because I know we've got a designer listening now thinking, wait, what?
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
So when you say, so you're the design, so it's a designer either admires a kitchen of yours and it wants to suggest the look to a client, or the client says, see this picture, this is what I
Mm-hmm,
want my kitchen to look like, and the designer's like, that's a Jean Stoffer kitchen,
mm-hmm,
and now they've heard about that they can get cabinetry from you.
mm-hmm.
So next step, that designer needs to have I imagine, the cabinetry ultimately will be installed by somebody local. Is
Correct.
that who the designer enlists for the measurements, or like how do
Mm-hmm.
we go from I want it to I'm ordering it virtually to it's in my client's home?
Yeah. Well, a lot of times, it can be either new construction or remodeling, but the first step is that we get some sort of, and it's usually rudimentary, plan view of the spaces that they're wanting cabinetry, whether it's laundry rooms, mudrooms, kitchens, bathroom vanities, whatever. Um, and they send it in to, we have a portal at stofferhomecabinetry.com that my son Dan is in charge of, and he reviews everything and sends a preliminary estimate. So before anybody goes anywhere, they find out, yeah, it'll be about this. Because we now, since we have this style, we don't have to be like, well, you could be doing that door front and this thing, and then it would be that, and this finish, and oh, it would add this. No, it's all kind of dialed in. So we can give a ballpark range, and if it's in the range of what is allowed for the job, and they want the look and they want the quality, the next step is that they ask we send them an invoice for a deposit on the cabinetry, which is 10% of the cabinetry estimate. And then with that, then we schedule an intake call and learn everything we need to learn about how to design this kitchen. If we get designer intent, we get all the conditions in the field, which are usually gotten for us through the general contractor on the job or the lead carpenter on the job, or who will ultimately be the installer. But we get all the information that we need, and then we do all the heavy lifting of the design, like the engineering of the design and drawing and appliance integration and all the things.
So in that intake call, for example, you're learning, will you be using Monogram appliances, for example, or
Correct.
are you going to Home Depot? Right?
Yep. We learn their appliance selections, and if they need guidance on that, we're able to provide that. A lot of times people know what appliances they want, though, and then
they do already know what you're saying, or don't.
They do.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they're probably more typically going to use a Monogram type appliance as opposed to.
It's all over the place.
It is all over the place. Interesting.
Yeah. It's a lot of Monogram. It's a lot of, higher end. It's some cafe. It's some, it's Thermador. It's everything.
It's everything. So it's okay. And so the thing is, so a designer listening to this, I love that your second step is the preliminary estimate. So we don't have to get you full on drawings, final field measurements. We can just say, here's some pictures, here's sort of the parameters, here's the rough measurements. And then we can decide with our client if we're in the right budget, if this is, if we have the investment for this.
Right. Why do anything that we realize, this is not going to work after all.
Right. And so with that, now we can take next steps. And because if with that preliminary estimate, we get that 75% deposit out of our client, and then therefore we place our deposit with you. And then you guys take next steps of getting us to accurate and final drawings.
Well, actually, no. Once we realize that we're in line price-wise, we only ask for a 10% deposit, which kicks off the design phase. And then,
but would you be suggesting that the designer is collecting their 75% at that point, even if they're only dealing 10, or it's still too soon? You've got more final.
It's still too soon because we can't order anything yet until everything is like final designed.
Right.
Then we can order something. And actually, in the Stoffer Home cabinetry line, we charge 100%.
Okay.
Upfront.
Okay. Good. Yeah. You should.
The custom business is the 75-25.
Okay.
The whole house interior full service design is the 75-25, but the Stoffer Home cabinetry kitchen design and cabinetry business is 100% is required to order.
Good. You should.
Yeah.
And so the thing is that, are there, Jean, does a designer need to edit and self-select from this process, right? Like I made a joke earlier about Monogram versus Home Depot appliances,
Mm-hmm,
right? Like once you're around the bush one or two times, it's not a matter of debating is Monogram worth every penny. That's not the debate. It's just technically acknowledging that there is going to be one consumer with this budget and another consumer who will invest in the value of Monogram. So is the Stoffer cabinetry, is there a hierarchy there? Should, if you're like entry level, that's not us. This is mid to upper, or it's strictly upper, just so anybody out there can sort of get a handle on
mm-hmm.
should they mention it for their next project.
I would say it is high-end custom cabinetry that is exceptional value
Mm,
for what it is because of our mode of delivery, our
okay.
mode of coming to market with this. It's if you were to match us up against other national high-end brands that might have showrooms in design centers and so forth, you would be thrilled to
Happily
purchase from
surprised.
us.
Right.
Yes. Hmm.
Right. You're able to deliver more quality, as much quality
As
and
much quality.
value at a different price point because of, like you said, the way that it's, the channel of distribution of it.
Exactly.
Interesting.
Hmm.
Interesting. So
Hmm.
cool. So cool. So this is a successful program, and
Yeah.
and consumers are taking advantage of it as well. And I just have to ask the question. So when a designer comes and they might do 2-3 projects a year with you, is there quote unquote trade pricing, even if it's just some sort of level, or is it just like, look, it's a even highway out there?
Well, first of all, we handle all the financials directly with the client. So the designer does not have to get involved in
Oh.
any bookkeeping over this.
Oh.
Um, but we are working on a program where we recognize that the designer is bringing us this work, and we
Okay.
want to thank them and reward them for that.
Okay, so that's to be decided. That's coming in the future.
It is.
You're we don't know
Yep.
what it is. We don't know if it'll happen, if it won't happen, because you're in the plans for it and you're
Right.
brainstorming on it.
Right.
Okay, love it.
Hmm.
All right, so that just means you have to come back next year when
Right.
that's
Yeah, that's
decided.
right. Yeah.
Okay. And so this is really exciting because how
Hmm.
often do we get to, whether we're designers or regular garden variety humans, get to see something on Instagram and we can have it too,
Yes.
right? You
Right.
just normally can't. You're just like, that's not my world. I can't do that.
Right. Right.
That's fun.
Yeah. And especially with our particular look, this flush inset, British inspired design, this is a level of cabinetry fabrication that is um, not not that easy.
Mm.
The tolerances are very small. Um, Finish is going to be super important. So it's exciting to me that we can deliver this product and people can get this look that is so beautiful, and we don't, I mean, it's involving a lot more people and it's exciting to us.
Mm. Right, right, right.
Yeah.
More homes and people across America can
Yeah.
have a feel of this, a taste of this. Is
Hmm.
are you shipping to Canada and other places, or is it strictly US at this point?
um we are not shipping to Canada.
Okay.
We shipped
Okay.
one job to Hawaii, and that the crating to make sure it didn't get ruined on the
Mm.
boat cost a ridiculous amount of money that we're not doing that again either.
It's cost prohibitive.
Yeah.
Doesn't make sense, right?
Right.
Okay. Okay. So that's super, super exciting. And
Yeah.
congratulations to you and to Grace. Grace for having the idea,
Yep.
for
Yep.
you saying, I'm not sure how, but let's look into it. And for your whole team in figuring out a way to do it. That's
Hmm.
a tremendous success story right there.
Yeah. It really is exciting.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Now, tell me a little bit about what it's like to work with the Magnolia team. My goodness.
Yeah,
I mean,
wow.
I know that we're running on almost an hour here, but we can't not talk about that.
I
It's
know, it's so great. I tell you, um I'd never aspired to be on TV. And I'd heard some not great stories,
Mm,
and I'd also seen some design shows that my particular, being in the kind of design I was in, I like, oh gosh,
yeah,
like,
why are they doing that?
why are they doing that? Or it's just so thrown together.
Mm,
And I didn't ever imagine that the way we do design and how long our projects take and so forth would ever be compatible with TV
mm,
until the Magnolia Network, who are their vision, or their, what they wanted out of TV was to inspire and encourage and be like where you turn off the TV and not only do you have a smile on your face, but you want to go do something.
mm.
And so they went to, and they call us storytellers. They went to individuals who are doing what, just, they're not actors. They're not,
Right.
they went to people who have been doing their thing and they just want to tell the story.
Mm,
And they have such a beautiful style. They hire production companies, for all their original content shows. And the production company that we're working with, it's called Big Table Media, is so dedicated to following the authentic, like what's really happening, timeline, how we do things, uh, and so nothing's scripted. They're just
mm,
asking me to say, what is this? Why did you do this? Or
mhm.
what's next? Or how did you come up with this idea? Or um, how did you overcome this problem? And it's just like I get to have this, like with you. This is not scripted. We're just
Right, right.
talking, and it's just interesting because it's real.
Hmm.
It's real. And then the other thing that I love about them is I noticed on a lot of other TV, they're looking for the drama.
I was just going to ask you about that.
Yes.
There doesn't seem to be there's none of that. And isn't that the most annoying thing when you
It's so
see
annoying.
it's like literally it's literally contrived to
It
create
is. It's
drama.
manufactured.
Yes, it's like for what purpose? Why do we want
Right.
to dwell in that headspace on purpose? It's bad enough when we get there by
Right.
accident.
Right. It's so true. And so it's not uplifting. It's not
No.
inspiring. So they're like, that's not part of who we are. It's not what we're
Right.
doing, which is a huge relief, that they're not
Yes.
going to go trying to develop something that is not real, or that
Mm.
is just not edifying.
Right, right, right. Well, and it goes along. Look, I mean, have you met Chip and Joanna, or is that totally ridiculous?
No, I have.
Are they? Please tell me they're as amazing as they seem, because I'll just start crying if they're not.
No, they are exactly what you see they are. That
That's
is
you
who
expect that.
they are. Chip is exactly the way he is.
It's a
And
nut
you're like, oh my gosh, okay, that's really. And Joanna is as kind and as
level,
fun and as
sweet.
lovable and as encouraging as she appears on the show.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
I
It's so
just
funny
I
because
feel like I am in such good hands.
that's so good. It's so good on all the levels, right? Like you
Right.
don't ever want to find out that people that you do admire are
Yeah.
not who they think they are. But I think we've also learned. I mean, look, don't you kind of feel like you almost it would be revealed somehow at this point,
I
watching
think
how
so.
many dozens of episodes, and
I
they are
think
always who they are, right?
I think so. Yeah,
Yes,
I think
yes,
so.
yeah. I became aware of Chip and Joanna. It's hysterical because of Vinny. Now,
Ah,
we don't watch any design shows. We don't watch any reality TV. The only reality TV I'll watch is Shark Tank, and he tolerates it with me. I mean, he likes it, but he would never put it on by himself. And it started to be where like a Saturday or a Sunday, and I would walk in the room and he'd have the TV on, and I'm not a daytime TV person.
Mhm.
I'm just not. And so I would walk through the room to go do something. And I would look at him like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "I'm just watching this show about, redecorating houses." And I'm like, "Really?" And then I would just keep walking. And then, like,
Yeah.
about the fifth or sixth time, over 6 or 7 months, and it's not like, the guy's sitting at the TV 24/7. But I walked through one other time, and he's like, "This Chip and Joanna, I like them." I'm like, "Wait, what are we talking about here?"
Yeah.
And so what I'll tell you what really happened was so funny is because I'm still just like, whatever, I'm not watching a design show. I don't care. And then I've never told anybody this, but I guess it was the second year I was podcasting. Their design team reached out to me and I business coached them a little bit. And
Ah.
it was interesting. Now, it wasn't Chip or Joanna, but it was their design team. And they had a directive from Chip and Joanna, and they were a little unsure of what their options were in meeting this directive. And so the one of the girls on the team listened to the show and she reached out and she's like, "Could you business coach us?" And I was like, "I certainly can." I remember I'm walking in my
Yeah.
cul-de-sac. I'm like, "Wait, the actual magnolia, like not like magnolia trees, but like magnolia." And the
Well,
thing
you
was,
can imagine. Yeah, I heard, and you can imagine when I got the call
yeah,
of the Magnolia of like that Magnolia
yeah, yeah.
wanting to talk about a TV
Oh
show.
yeah.
It was like
Wait, what?
eyes wide, mouth
Yes.
open, like,
R
really?
Yes, right? I know, it was the same thing. I can remember where I was standing, and the funny thing is I when he came home from work that night, I said to him, I said, "So that show with Chip and Joanna, like, what channel is it on and how do we watch it?" He's like, "What?" I said, "Because I have a meeting with their team in 3 days, and I gotta watch as many episodes as I can. I gotta get up to speed." And then I fell in love, just like he
You
had, and
do,
I
you
understood
fall
it.
in love.
Yes, I was like, "I love these people too now."
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
so
it's
cool.
true.
I'm
They're
so happy for
great.
you. I mean, because you know what? Jean, we know each other tiny, tiny bit, right? We've had a
Mhm.
conversation here and there. Mostly what I know from you is the same experience. It's seeing you in social and reading your book and all of the things. And then the 2 or 3 times that we've had the opportunity to speak, they confirm all the things that when you're learning about your life and your business and all of it, you say, "I like this person." This person, like I started the show, you didn't know I was going to say it. I started the show by saying, "I feel like you're somebody who has built your business and your life within your values." And I
Mm,
just have such admiration for you with it. And having this whole hour now is that, yep, slam dunk confirmation. And
mm,
I'm grateful to you, Jean, for the example that you set in the industry, that it doesn't have to be, drama and gross stuff, that it can just
no.
be a person who does the right thing for the people, does this
Yeah,
beautiful design and leads a good team and inspires all of us that it does come in seasons, the way you discussed and the
it
way you said in
does.
your book. And that's okay. Just keep doing you. It's the message I keep getting from you in all the different ways. Be
Mm.
true to you, right?
Yeah, and I mean, I feel like there's also, um, I'm a Christian, LuAnn, and I feel
Mm,
like I've a lot of what I read in the Bible has really led to inform a lot of how I operate.
mm,
And I'm so thankful for, I would say, that coaching.
mm.
I'm not just out
That
on a
voice in
limb
your
trying to
ear.
figure things out.
Hmm.
There's great coaching, and it's worthy of listening to, and I'm extremely thankful for it.
Mm, that's awesome. I love it.
Hmm.
I have to tell you, I just enjoy you so much and really do look at to you for somebody for inspiration and for all the things that you bring to your business. It's to be admired and emulated. And I'm grateful that you spent this hour with us. And I'm just so excited to watch you and your family continue to grow this thing in all the ways.
Oh, thank you, LuAnn. I've had a wonderful time.
Jean is a real deal, right? Hashtag smart lady, talented, dedicated, inspiring, and genuine. Listen, many of us are in a hurry and hungry for success. I get it. I was that way. I'm that way. This is not a bad thing. But at the risk of sounding like your grandpa, who always talks about walking uphill somehow in both ways in snow to get to school, I have to tell you from experience, you do eventually understand. You do look back and see, as Jean called it, the seasons in your life. So being driven, having goals, knowing the business you want to create is good. It's admirable. It's worthy. But when the pieces aren't fitting, if they aren't fitting, then maybe pick up your head and figure out why. Sometimes slowing down, resetting your compass, and doing what works best for you and your family in whatever season of life you are in is the right way. Do your work, lay a solid foundation, and guess what? You will be ready for what is to come, what is supposed to come, when the time for it comes. Jean knows this from experience, and I do too. And her journey is proof that it takes a lifetime to be an overnight success. I love that Jean recognized right from the start that whatever her business was going to be, it was going to serve her and her family, right? She didn't take on whole home interior design in the beginning because she had small children and she wanted to care for them. And remember, this was an age before the internet when, when you were home with your kids, you were off the grid. You couldn't resource for things online while wiping runny noses at the same time. It was different. And I have to say, often I'm sad for you young mothers now, for my daughters who are mothers of young kids. You don't know this feeling of being off the grid. A snow day was an actual, gosh darn it, snow day. No cell phones, no email, no business as usual. It was snow angels, hot chocolate, and Hallmark movies. And the big thing, no guilt for doing these things. Yes, I would go through my mind once in a while, oh my goodness, I left a quote undone. I told somebody I would call them back today. But in the next minute, you were like, it's 10 feet of snow out here. Everybody gets it. Or there's 8 inches of snow out here. Everybody gets it. Drive for Success was put on hold while you played and you made cookies and you built snowmen. Now, I recognize there are some of you out there that are achieving this despite the ever-presence of online availability. And I high-five you. I really do. It reminds me of an episode a while back with Steve and Alyssa Terpstra of Coco and Jack. They're running their business while raising 4 young children. And it's not easy, but you can, if you strive for it, find the balance that works best for your family. It also could be that you're at the other end of it. Maybe you are taking care of parents now. That's the other end of it. That's another season, right? So the seasons aren't just the beginning season. Sometimes the seasons are the later seasons. So whatever season you're in, you gotta be real with yourself and honor it. Okay. Jean is now in the stage of life where she's working with her adult children and a retired husband. And this is another fun season. They all seem to be thriving in this season. And I love that Jean has just so much admiration for the insights and the ideas that her kids are bringing to the business. Right? It builds on itself. Grace's idea to sell the cabinets virtually, combined with John's beautiful photographs, his marketing sensibilities, and social media prowess, then creates space for Dan to step in and manage the orders and the clients. So good. It's just so good. And I also really enjoyed the part of the conversation where Jean was talking about how John, through his photography, how his photography has evolved with Jean's designs and how he's been the curator of portraying her design style, that it's been a nice, long, genuine collaboration between the two, right? Very cool, isn't it? Quality photography is key, especially if you want to use Instagram and other platforms to grow your business. And I would say that the episode with New Jersey photographer Mike Von Tassel, where he talked about expressing your brand through photography, could be helpful if you don't happen to be lucky like Jean and have a John in your life. Okay, so we'll put the link for that in the show notes. Now, if you haven't done it already, please pick a copy up of her book, Establishing Home. You can get it on her website, stofferhome.com, as well as at Target, Barnes & Noble, and Amazon. And of course, we'll put the links in the show notes. If you are in Grand Rapids, Michigan, visit Stoffer Home store, or you can find the beautiful designs and custom cabinetry online at stofferhome.com and at Stoffer Home on Instagram. You can also see Jean in action on the Established Home television series on the Magnolia Network. I think the new season literally just came out this weekend, if you're listening in real time. And I just love that Magnolia found Jean. She is such a good fit there, so authentic, so inspiring. Thank you, tons, Jean, for joining me today. I really admire you. It's hard for me to express how deeply I admire the way you have lived your life to build your business and the way you inspire us to live our lives and build our businesses. Thank you so much. And thank you for showing up and listening to this conversation. I am so thankful that you do continue to show up. Decide to be excellent.
Thank you for joining me today. This podcast is a production of LuAnn and Jean, Inc. If you want to know more about me, my books, or LuAnn University, go to LuAnnandJean.com. And if you are interested in having WindowWorks help you with your next window treatment or awning project in the New York, New Jersey metro area, go to WindowWorksNJ.com to learn more. Have an excellent day.